The new My Hero Academia chapter has revealed the biggest hint of all time. When what I will explain you in this video will come true, this will become one of the best and emotional moments in manga history. Not just in Boku no Hero Academia. This is something that will even make the strongest of us cry. I will show you how exactly Tomura Shigaraki, with the help of Deku and Not Shimura, will free himself from All for One and become Tenko Shimura again. The showdown between All for One and One for All is almost here. If you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video. Let's go! The new My Hero Academia chapter 361 is called Instability. The name of the chapter is very important to understand the meaning behind what is happening in Shigaraki. Instability within a system, which Shigaraki's body undoubtedly represents, is characterized by some of the internal states growing without limits and control. It is basically a state that could change unexpectedly and without control. And this new chapter has clearly shown that the person we call Shigaraki is actually an unpredictable cocktail of three entities, all of which have control over the body in some way, some more, some less. First, we have All for One, so the person who forced himself into the system. He's the main villain and the one responsible for what is happening to Tenko Shimura. Then we also have Tomura Shigaraki, who was created by All for One through various manipulations. He's the manifestation of pure hatred that springs from the core of the system. And then there's also Tenko Shimura, the core and origin of the system, the true victim of this tragedy, whom All for One has deliberately chosen for his evil plan to create Tomura Shigaraki. All three share this body. This was already hinted at in the Star and Stripe fight, when Star and Stripe could not use her quirk on Shigaraki since his existence is not limited to a single person. Shigaraki confirmed that he himself does not know who he is. Is he Tomura Shigaraki or All for One? Or maybe even Tenko Shimura? Before that, we even saw how Tenko Shimura is still a part of Shigaraki when Deku saw Tenko crying. It seems like each of them have their own triggers that help them take control. For example, Shigaraki has shown to have strong control when it comes to hateful aspects, which makes sense because he is the hateful manifestation of Tenko Shimura. Anything that has to do with anger is when Shigaraki is most present. In such moments, it is even possible for him to fight against All for One's control. Especially when it comes to All Might and Deku, Shigaraki often shows his personality. Basically whenever One for All is involved. Which of course makes a lot of sense because that's how All for One disciplined and manipulated him. He made him hate One for All so that one day he could steal it. Since this is the only possibility due to the ability of One for All that without the consent of the current user, One for All cannot be transferred unless there's enough hate involved. When it comes to All for One, he seems to have the most control when it comes to normal strategic and quiet moments. He basically controls the basic state of Shigaraki when nothing outside interferes or when conversations take place that require a response that actually matters and have meaning behind it. Shigaraki doesn't really think much, he doesn't really care about anything. All he wants to do is just to destroy everything. That's his whole goal. Whenever a meaningful sentence comes out of his mouth, All for One is usually the one that answered. And now something very interesting and extremely important has happened in this new chapter that explains exactly what is going on in Shigaraki and what Deku meant when he said he saw a crying child in Shigaraki that he was determined to save. The chapter begins with Tenko Shimura thinking about what Mirio said in the last chapter. Mirio told him that he never had any friends. We saw Shigaraki's face freeze for a brief moment and then suddenly turned into a shocked face. This was the moment when Tenko Shimura finally woke up. And so in this chapter we see how Tenko Shimura was able to take control for the first time. The interesting thing about this is all the hands around him. They grab him by his face and body. It has been said that the physical hands are responsible for why Shigaraki could not remember his past, because his family hands will keep him in check. It does not matter whether it is metaphorical or an actual ability that these hands cause, and thus whether it has a real effect on Shigaraki or a psychological one, that All for One is triggered with the help of these hands. That's not the point is that it works, and that is all that matters. The moment Shigaraki remembered everything was the moment he destroyed the hands that had always held him. He accepted his past, but he also understood that he's no longer that person. He's no longer Tenko Shimura to whom these memories belong, but Tomura Shigaraki. And because these hands belong to his old life, they have become useless to him. This moment represents the birth of Shigaraki as an independent person. But now the hands are shown again, this time no longer physically but mentally, to hold the real Tenko Shimura. When Shigaraki destroyed the hands, it was only because he remembered his past and wanted to get rid of it. But it did not get rid of Tenko Shimura, because even though the physical hands are now destroyed, his family members still hold Tenko Shimura in his mind, indicating that the real purpose was not to make Shigaraki forget his past, as Dr. Garaki mistakenly assumed, but to suppress Tenko Shimura. This would make Shigaraki and Tenko two different people. In this way, All For One was able to make Shigaraki a hateful person, without Tenko's personality interfering. And exactly that is what the hands are doing at this moment. But for what reason? Is it so that All For One can achieve his goal, with the hands preventing Tenko from taking control to free himself, which will mean that they are basically holding him captive? Or do the hands protect Tenko Shimura from All For One, so that the part of Tenko always remains alive and does not become Shigaraki, and thus can never fully merge with All For One? That will then mean that they are holding him back from becoming evil. If you look at this panel, for example, it's very clear why his family is holding him. They do not want to lose him to All For One. It was never something bad. This will then also explain why Deku saw Tenko Shimura crying in the world of All For One, and why Deku now wants to try to save Shigaraki. As long as a small part of Tenko Shimura is still alive, Shigaraki can still be saved and turned back into Tenko Shimura. It is not too late, because of the hands. In this chapter, it was clearly confirmed that although All For One and Shigaraki are already almost merged, the fusion between Tenko and All For One has still not taken place, and that is very important. The moment the hands holding Tenko let go of him, a showdown begins that will decide the future of Shigaraki. It will be a showdown between All For One and One For All. All For One who tries to merge with Tenko, and Deku who tries to save him by turning Shigaraki into Tenko and thereby freeing him from all the hatred that All For One has caused. This showdown will then take place in the world of All For One and One For All, whereby One For All and All For One face each other. One side All For One who holds Tenko, and on the other side Deku who tries to save him, together with Nana Shimura who asks him to go over to her side. Possibly the hands could even still be holding him at this moment, if these symbolic hands were created because of Tenko, and are not only a protective mechanism, but also symbolize that Tenko cannot forgive himself for what he has done, and has therefore limited himself. Then Tenko must first forgive himself and let go of the past that is holding him. This could be the moment when the hands slowly release, and instead of holding him tight, they will actually push him forward. And then we see all the family members he accidentally killed standing behind him, stopping All For One from holding Tenko. Similar to how all the quirks fight against All For One. Tenko falls into Shimura's arms, and then Shigaraki wakes up with the personality of Tenko Shimura, making all his hatred disappear, and with it, All For One can no longer use Shigaraki to steal One For All. I think it's a really good idea, and I really hope that Horikoshi will do that. In my opinion, such a moment will go down in history. Please let me know what you think about it. If you like this video, please leave a like, it really helps us a lot. And if you want to see more My Hero Academia content, theories, and chapter reviews, subscribe to our channel with the notification bell activated. And be sure to check out the other series we cover on our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.